Did you have problems with self-confidence, like most of your life with the weight?
I think so. I think I always have had a problem. I was the tallest girl in school. So even though I was thin, I thought I was big. I remember being 135 pounds and thinking that I was 135 pounds when I was 20, and I thought I was fat.
Wow.
And I'm 5'9". And so then it was always a roller coaster up and down. So I put on weight when I was 11 or 12, and I saw my pictures and I thought, oh my gosh, I look like really heavy. And then my dad made fun of me with my pantyhose. And so I just got really insecure. I was kind of attractive as a younger teenager.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was really, my dad wasn't affectionate at all. He wasn't my biological father. My biological father wasn't around. My mom married my brother and sister's dad when I was a year and a half old. When I was 11, she told me he wasn't my dad. And I remember being super happy that he wasn't my dad. But
I was going to say, besides being super happy, did it make you feel like, I don't know, deceived or anything?
no, I didn't feel deceived. I felt guilty because I was so happy he wasn't my dad. I literally started laughing, and then I looked at my mom's face and I went, and then I started crying because I felt bad. Like I wasn't supposed to be happy that he wasn't my dad. I don't like the man. I still don't like the man. He was a horrible, horrible father, extremely abusive. He's just an awful person, and he said mean, terrible things, and he hurt my brother and sister. I mean, he made us box until we were bleeding in the kitchen, in the living room for fun. After dinner, he would have boxing nights and make all of us kids hit each other in the face until there was blood.
Are you serious? Now, what'd your mom do? Was she home?
Yeah, for the most part. My mom was very young. I mean, she had 3 kids by the time she was 19. So she's like 25, 26. And this is him playing with us kids. He was just, he wasn't sexually abusive, but he was abusive in every other way possible. So I was thin when I moved down here to California. I was 135, 140 pounds. And I met a boy and I put on a few pounds. Oh, he started taking me out. We started going out a lot, and I got up to like 150. And then I went on a diet and went right back down to 135 and stayed there until I got pregnant with my daughter. I was 135. I went up to 190 when I was 21. And then I had her and went down to 170. And I kind of sat there. The lowest I've ever been since I had my daughter is 150 pounds. I've never gone back down to 135. So my daughter's 28 years old. So I have been basically between 160 and probably, for the most part, 160 to 180 for most of that time.
Yeah.
But then last year, a few years ago, like in 2008, I went up to like 220 and I stopped weighing myself. But I started at Jenny Craig and I was 192, 192.8, I think was my start weight.
Okay.
And I lost 25 pounds and went down to 168. I kept it off for 4 years, put it back on like 11 pounds, and then I took that back off. And I basically sat around 175. I'm real comfortable there. I'm a size 10. Mm-hmm. I'm curvy. I like the way I look. I'm not too skinny. I'm pretty happy around 170, between 165 and 175. I'm very comfortable with how I look.
Yeah.
And
hey, so what happened in your life that year you went up to 220?
I was working at a restaurant and I was 175, 180. I think it went up to like 190, and I went to a weight loss place and got back down to 180. And then I went into restaurant management, and my home life got super stressful. My daughter was 16 years old and she was fighting with my boyfriend, my live-in boyfriend. They were fighting all the time. So I went from waitressing and being gone 20 hours a week to managing and being gone 60 hours a week. And then we also had to move. And where we moved, it was very difficult for my daughter to get rides, and there was no sidewalks for her to walk anywhere. So it just got to be my home life pretty much sucked. And then I was in management. And the only time that you can relax or sit down at all is if you're eating. Because if you're walking around, somebody's like, can you run this food out? Can you do this? I mean, people are always wanting you to work, like, constantly. So I went up to about 220 pounds, and I ended up quitting that job and going to travel. And it was like the best thing that I ever did. I quit my job as a restaurant manager. At the time, I was making $45,000 a year. So I was super happy. I mean, it was really good money, but I started this network marketing company, and I was selling travel. So I went to go travel. So I left my boyfriend. My daughter was 18. She moved out and moved in with her friend. I broke up with the boyfriend, said bye-bye. And I had a brand new Mustang, and I took off for 6 months. And I traveled. I went to Yellowstone and Yosemite and Wyoming and Canada, Niagara Falls. And I traveled all over everywhere. Wow. And I came back, and then I ran in, and then I got back in November, and I ran into my current husband. We had dated a long time ago. And he was single, I was single, and we just hooked up right away, and we've been together ever since. I mean, we're not together now, but as soon as I was happy, I just dropped the weight. I lost like 30 pounds. Yeah. I think when we got married, I was at 185, and that was about a year and a half after we got together. So when I'm happy or having sex, I'm much more careful about what I eat.
Right.
And then I started working at Jenny Craig, but I felt really good about myself. I had like a lot of self-confidence. I wasn't feeling bad about myself personally at all. And then things started to go south with my husband, who's an alcoholic. He never said anything about my weight, never anything about how I looked. I still managed to stay the same weight until about a year and a half ago. Well, basically when our relationship was falling apart, I started doing the Jack Canfield thing, and my husband left to go be a truck driver, and I started putting on some weight. Yeah. And when I went to BTS, I said, hey, I'm a weight loss consultant, and I'm 30 pounds overweight. And I hadn't been that heavy since I started at Jenny Craig. So I had lost all that weight in 2009. I had lost the weight in 2009. And now here it was 2017, April last year. I was 30 pounds overweight. And I was like, what the hell? I'm like, well, I'm going to lose it before I go to train the trainer, which was in July. And so I didn't. Yeah. And then I'm like, well, I have to go back and see everybody in November for the round 2 of Train the Trainer, the second week. Yeah. And I'm like, for sure I'll lose it by then. Nope, I gained another 20.
Did you?
Yeah. So now I'm 50 pounds overweight. So I'm getting on the scale, and it's like in January this year, I got on the scale, it was 227 pounds. I'm like, what the fuck? This is just not fair. But I moved into this house. I got a divorce. I quit smoking. My daughter and her fiance hated this house because it was too far from all their friends. Yeah. So I had 3 dogs that I was super stressed about were going to get out of the house and run away and get hit and get killed. And I was worried they'd get out of the yard. I had zip lines running through my yard to attach the dogs to so they wouldn't jump over the fence for 3 months. And the kids just left. Every weekend, Jameson goes to his other grandparents. So Kitty and Raja would leave and go to their friend's house. And so I moved this house. My husband's gone. I got 3 dogs. Yeah. I'm like, I don't have any neighbors. It was just, and there's a cute little deli down on the corner, and they sell gourmet cheese. And I just started eating, and I put this weight on. I'm like, oh my God. So that was, I'm going on 2 years here. So it's been about a year and a half.
Yeah. Did Jenny Craig say anything when you gained weight? Did they give you a hard time?
No, because I work at the home office and my clients are online over the phone.
Right, so they don't see. Yeah. Yeah, it's just always curious.
But most of my clients are up and down, up and down, up and down too. Yeah. You know, it's like people go and come back on the program because they put the weight back on.
What do you find most people's reason for putting back on? Like, is it something that happens in their life? Or
most people put the weight back on because they think that the way they eat is temporary when they're on the plan. So they get on the plan and they get to their goal. And then once they're at their goal, they go back to eating the way they used to eat. They don't change their behavior. they change it temporarily till they get to their goal.
Yeah.
And so with me, I feel like I don't drink soda anymore. I've cut so many things out of my diet. I don't think I eat badly compared to how I used to eat, when I was younger. I think it's a combination of lack of exercise. I don't do any activity. I don't go for walks, don't go for runs, don't go do all that stuff, which would help if I burned more calories. And I go too long without eating. And so
I know. I do that too. And I used to tell my patients all the time, like, no, eat small meals every 2 to 3 hours, maintains your metabolism. And I mean, like, I guess it's a better problem to have, but like when I'm just not in like the best mood, I don't feel like eating.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't, some people are stressed when they eat. I just don't eat. Like I have to go tonight, right before I called you, I'm like, I have to eat something today. So I had a salad, but like I could have gone, and just forgotten about it.
Most of my clients are emotional eaters. Most people are eating because they're mad, sad, happy, or glad. They're eating not because they're hungry.
Do they substitute a behavior, like a healthy behavior?
Yeah, if you take the behavior away, so let's say every night after dinner, you make a bowl of popcorn and go sit on the couch and watch TV and eat the popcorn. Yeah. So if you're on a diet, you're not going to do that, right? So you just stop doing it. Well, you have a void. You created a void there. You have to do something else while you watch TV, whether it's play Sudoku, color, do adult coloring book, something else. You need something else to do. So I think part of my thing too is I'm like, oh, my cousin lost like 90 pounds doing this weight loss program that she sells. It's like a keto type thing. And so I go on it with her and I lost like 8 pounds and then I got diverticulitis.
Oh.
And so I thought maybe it was from eating like all the nuts and stuff I ate. So then I went off from it and went back to eating regular, except in January, I went on Jenny Craig's Rapid Results and I lost 17 pounds in January. I went from 227 to 210. So right now I think I'm pretty.
Yeah.
If I lost 50 pounds, I would be fucking gorgeous and I should have a man. Whenever I'm in a relationship with a man, they take over my whole life. And that becomes about them because...
Okay, we're going to throw a little Jack Canfield right at you, girl. They take over your whole life or do you let them take over your whole life? Oh,
yes. I let them. I get so...
I do too.
I get so caught up in that relationship that whatever they want, they get. So I did a double protective spell. I put 50 pounds on and I'm a Capricorn and so I'm extremely loyal. So I just filed for legal separation from my husband. There's a reason for all of this because I don't want to be in a relationship with a man. I want to build my business. I don't want the distraction of a man. I don't want a man to be more important than me ever again. And I'm just having that awareness very recently.
But I think, because I get that. And why do you think you throw so much into a relationship?
Because my dad didn't love me when I was little and he never told me he loved me and he never acted like he loved me. So it has been my life's goal to make as many men fall in love with me as possible. And as soon as they do, I'm like the Black Widow and I'm like, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah.
They're boring. They're boring. I don't want them.
Yeah, I know. You like the bad boy type too?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
I guess. Well, once they love me, it doesn't have to be the bad boy necessarily.
I don't mean the bad boy, but like, let's put it this way. Whenever I go on a dating site and I look at the pictures, I don't even have to look at a bio. I go, ooh, I like the look of that guy. He's either going to be a musician, an artist, a writer. Like, someone who's just
a Pisces.
Yeah. And just
a dreamer,
self-centered, a dreamer, and like me. I'm not Pisces. Like, it's just not the kind of guy you'd want your daughter and go, oh yeah, marry him. But
yeah, my husband's a karaoke host and he sings like Randy Travis. He has an amazing voice. Wow. He was actually scouted and his wife was a singer. He actually ran the karaoke booth and the guy heard him sing and he was from Hollywood and his wife threw a fit.
Wow.
And they wouldn't let him go. But anyways, I was attracted to him. I don't think I necessarily have a type. If the guy who doesn't pay much attention to me, that's the one I want to go out with.
Yeah.
I don't know
So,
why.
I mean, well, you just said because your dad, right? Do you ever hear love addict, love avoidant?
Mm-mm.
So a love addict, usually a love addict is a woman and has like daddy issues, right? So we're like craving attention from men and would do anything, not anything, but like you were saying, like once you're in a relationship, we over romanticize it and it's like fairy tale thing and you fall quick and hard and and we usually attract a love avoidant, someone who felt responsible for it's usually the guy who felt responsible as mom, either as a really good
Mm-hmm.
friend, the father was gone. And so they need to feel needed because their mom needed them a lot. And we need to, right? Or so it's a
So you're
perfect.
describing me and my husband like to
Yeah.
a T.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. I'm describing every relationship I've had too. I'm the addict. So, but the kid, what happens though is like, so initially it's like this like amazing connection and fire and like it can last for a couple of years. And then all of a sudden, if something happens and the love addict doesn't get their needs met or the love avoidant doesn't feel needed anymore, it starts to pull apart a little bit. And as soon as the addict, like I did this before healing. I mean, it was like a panic going, oh my God, no, he's going to leave. Like, I didn't even know
Right.
why. Like, but as soon as the addict does that, the avoidant goes, oh man, like, I like being needed, but not this much. And they back away. And then as soon as the addict like parts back away, the avoidant, I mean, it's like this. I'm writing this article one time going, oh my God, this is my whole life. And I did this to my son and holy shit. I'll
Yeah.
send you that article too. But it is like, I think after doing all this personal development work, my advice to any, particularly a woman, a girl, would be that do not get into a relationship until you're at least like 24. I mean, because the biggest misnomer, I think, is like, what was the movie You Complete Me? What was that? Jerry Maguire. Like that's crap. Like you want to be completed before you go into a relationship.
Yeah. But I mean, that's not going to happen. The person you're in love with when you're 20 is not who you're in love with when you're 30.
Yeah.
It's certainly not who you're in love with when you're 40. I can't even imagine being married to my daughter's father. Talk about a chauvinist. He's a cop. He's like women belong in the kitchen. So I don't know. Yeah, I hear you there. I'm like you're totally described as I know I got codependent with Frank because of the alcoholism, but I've never been around an alcoholic or a drug addict in my life until Frank. But before that, it was the meeting. He was my friend, so we were friends. So it was weird when we started dating. But that how I felt when I was around him. He was adopted, and his mom wanted to have more children and couldn't.
Yeah.
So she adopted Frank, and she did everything with him. They went everywhere. They went to the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. She took him to see Pavarotti or whatever. They vacationed. That was her little boy, and they did everything together. And he still feels like he calls himself a dumpster baby because his mom put him up for adoption. Like he has very low self-esteem, even though his mom doted on him. But to me, I was going through a divorce when him and I started spending more time together, and my husband was very unkind. Wonderful while he was chasing me, but as soon as we got married, my first husband is bipolar, and he started planning the divorce. Like I was going to leave him. So he started protecting his heart and got very cold and distant. And so I had a very outgoing personality, and I was starting to lose that from the divorce. And Frank was my friend, and he was like winking at me and holding my hand, and he'd walk up and put behind me and put his arms around me, and he was extremely affectionate. I'd never been with anyone that affectionate, and he sucked me in, and I was walking around like a peacock, like, ooh, look at me. I had got my groove back, right? It was fantastic. And then he went back to his old girlfriend.
Wow.
I was like, whoa, what happened? And then I was like, because I'm like, he told me that she broke up with him. I didn't. And I asked if they would ever get back together. And he's like, she would never take me back. Thanks for answering the question. But obviously she did. And so he was still in love with her, so he went back with her. And then it went back and forth for a little bit. And then I was like, let's just go back to being friends. And I kept him in my life for years. He was just over there. But then he was single and I was single in 2008 at the same time. And for months, I wouldn't say I loved him. I would just hang out with him and go do fun things with him and go motorcycle riding with him. But I wasn't going to allow myself, because he's just going to leave me and go back to his wife, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to go through that again. Well, his wife was not his wife, but she ended up marrying somebody else and she's done. She was completely done. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm really with Frank. And from that point on, I was like, well, I have to protect him and I have to make sure he never gets away ever again. So I overcompensated and did everything for him, all trying to get back that constant affection that he had given me in the beginning.
Yeah.
Like I always say, I'm like, man, I just want to date guys for 3 months and then break up with them and get a new one.
So, now that, can you say your greatest qualities are?
I like my enthusiasm. Mm-hmm. I love how excited I get about things. I love how authentic I am. I love how I will tell people exactly. I get up on the stage and I told everybody how much I weighed. It's like, I did this. This is what happened to me. This is where I'm at. Every story I tell. In fact, the conversation I had with Jake today, I'm like, Jake, this is a whole nother chapter in my book. It's funny that you say this, because he said, why are you so set on writing the book? And you know why? I said, because I told Jack I was going to have the book and be on stage. So he goes, why do you need to be on stage? And I'm like, because when I was at One Day to Greatness, he invited 3 other people from Train the Trainer, but only one of them was a graduate. And no, 2 of them were graduates. One of them had just signed up, hadn't even started her training. And she got to go up on stage and talk about, and she like, I want to be up there. I want attention. I want to be noticed. I want these things. And so I want attention from Jack. And I always want attention from the most important person in the room. Mm. So the karaoke host at the bar was Frank. He was the most important person in the room. Right? Yeah. So it's always been that. I'm always attracted to I don't care what color they are. It doesn't matter. The most important person in the room, that's who I'm attracted to. So I want that person to I'm not attracted to Jack. I didn't mean
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
But yeah. I want, and the thing is there, Jack and I do have a thing. I don't know what, over and over and over and over again, Jack and I have been drawn together into conversations that nobody else gets to have with him. Wow. I don't know how it happens. It happens. And people are in awe of my relationship with Jack. And to me, it's like, it's funny because it's so normal, but it's like crazy. That like I can text him right now and say, hey, blah, blah, blah. Right?
That's very cool.
It is cool, but he's just a man. Yeah. He's just a man. But I brought that out somehow. So in talking to Jake today, I'm like, I don't want to disappoint Jack. And he goes, do you really think that Jack, he goes, you could go to BTS and stand on that stage and say, I went to BTS last year and I said I was going to do this and this is what I did. And this is my book. And so that's a good story. Mm-hmm. It's like, or you could say, I went to BTS last year and I wasn't sure what I was going to do with all this information. And so then I was going to make this movie. And then I sent Jack a letter because I had all these things. And then he said, I should write a book about what I wrote. And then I'm doing that. And then I get a coach. And then I'm doing all this stuff that Jack says to do. And then I have an inspired idea to launch a business. And I start go for goals. And I'm a professional accountability partner. And, I'm launching this multi-million-dollar company. You could go with that story. And I'm all, that's a way better story, and taking all the principles. He was like, you had inspired action. Like you took action at every single thing. You thought this was going to happen. You took action, and all these things keep coming up, and it's just changing your direction. You're still doing the movie. You're still writing the book. You're still doing the things that you want to do. Yeah. It's not like you're not doing, or you quit everything, or you never tried anything.
But that's yeah. I mean, you know what? And that's kind of what frustrated me over the past year too. It's like I've just taken inspired action over and over. So that's why I keep going, what the heck am I doing wrong? For a while, consistency, like on the routine, but I actually, it's not the routine I want, but it is a routine. I get up every morning at like 6:15 and walk. I'd rather do walking, phone game there, walking, yoga, and weights. But for now, it's like, an hour of walking in the morning.
You know what, though? Why do you think you're doing something wrong?
I don't know why I assume. Because the way I feel inside. Here I was talking to my roommate after I wrote that text in there. I told her about it and she looked at me and she goes, that's crap about doing the like reverse psychology and saying that, when I grew up, all that negative stuff propelled me to, do better. And
it's not crap. It's not crap because it makes sense. Because you were a fighter. And when you had somebody telling you you couldn't do it, you had to fight them so much to prove that you were important, because we all want to feel important. Yeah. Right. So you're fighting with them. And now you don't have anyone telling you that, so that you don't have that push or drive or whatever it is that was making you go there.
I was going to say whatever it was that made me fearless.
Yeah. Now, do you feel like do you feel fearful now?
Yeah, I do. I feel I'm missing the connection. I think a lot of what I've been doing the past year is I'm inside. I took away what my strengths. Like I'm not on the streets in the city anymore, and I don't talk to people left and right, and I don't sit on the ground and talk to homeless, and I haven't done that much in a year. And when I do that,
you want to?
Yeah, I do. But then something stops me from getting up and driving into the city and paying for parking. And I go, this looks stupid. I'm going to go look for people to connect with. And usually, to be honest with you, I don't have to go in the city. I just have to go. So I'll just go somewhere, because I inevitably end up talking and hearing somebody's story, whether it's a Starbucks or Panera or something like that. I think, like I said in the beginning, that I took away my identity. I stripped it away. I stripped away everything of what I was. Might have been a little too much change.
And so everything happens for a reason. It felt right at the time. And so the fact that you're feeling the way you're feeling now, all that is a sign. It's feedback. Remember Jackson about feedback? So right now you're getting feedback on what you've done. So maybe change your course a little bit. Yeah. So the thing is you quit your job, you made all these changes, but you're not trying to start a business. So you just maybe lack a little bit of, maybe it's direction. I think maybe being clear why you're here, like what your purpose is, and then try different ways to get to that purpose.
Yeah.
Your goal is to share ACEs with as many people as possible.
Yeah.
Then start building your tribe. So there's multiple ways to do that. You try one way. If it doesn't work, try another way. If it doesn't work, try another way. It doesn't work, and focus on that. And you can definitely, I think it's very exciting, the stuff that you have to share.
Yeah. Because I haven't taken time. And I think that's part of what it is too, is I'm exhausted. I'm tired. Like I've been busting my ass for a year and a half, like just 16 hours a day, and I'm tired. So ever get that way? Like you have no life. You're exhausted.
Yeah. And here's another thing. Apparently I don't feel that I need to have that much rest, because if I'm not in a constant state of panic, I don't seem to, so I've been working overtime shifts for my overtime shifts were expiring in May. I was only allowed to work on Sundays, January, February, March, April. And then at the end of the April, they decided they could do another month for May. But at the end of April, finally, I'm going to have weekends off. April 27th, Jake goes, you should totally start this business. So what do? Now, all of my spare time is like getting clients and trying to learn how to do stuff on the computer, which I don't know how to fucking do. And it's like, so I'm trying to teach myself how to do Aweber and MailChimp and send out automated emails and, launch a business and do all this stuff. And so from 7 to 9 in the morning, I have clients.
Yeah.
And then I get ready for work, and then I go to work, and I work from 9. I leave my house at 9:45, and I get home at 7:30, quarter to 8. And so then my downtime would be at then, but no, I'm writing a book, right?
Does it, do you feel good doing it, or do you get tired doing it?
I feel really, really good in the morning making my phone calls. Yeah. So my alarm goes off at, I joke that I put 6:33 because 6:30 is just too early.
Yeah.
So my alarm goes off at 6:30. I changed it. It goes off at 6, and I listen to my neuro gym until 6:30, 6:35. I get up, I go in the kitchen, I make a pot of coffee, I empty the dishwasher, and I'm all thinking about what I'm grateful for. I have my first call with Lisa at 7. I have to have she's my accountability partner also. Yeah. So it's not just me doing her. I have to write out what I'm going to do, but I'm super excited about that part. And then usually around 8:30, it's like mastermind call, a call with Jake or something, or I have from 8:30 to 9:30-ish to get ready which I could go exercise. But no, anyways, and then I get ready for work, and I'm done. So I'm very excited in the morning part. When I get home at 7:30, 7:45, I don't want to go over and sit in front of the computer. I don't.
Yeah. And it's funny because what I found is that's my key, if I'm on target or not, is how I feel I'm doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Like these,
super excited.
Yeah, well, or even just talking here, like before I got on the phone with you, 10:30, I was like, oh my God, I'm so tired. I'm exhausted. My head was hurting. I got on, we started talking, and I feel great now.
Yeah.
When you look in the mirror, and I don't mean physically, but who's the woman you see when you look in the mirror?
That's a hard one because there's just so many faces. It's like I'm a mom, and I want my daughter my mom had me so young. Mm-hmm. And I just wanted to be a better mom to my daughter than my mom was for me.
What would have made you a better mom?
I don't think that necessarily there's anything wrong with my mom's parenting skills now that I look at it, because I turned out pretty fucking okay. I think that, I don't know. I think I've heard it referred to from Capricorns also. Capricorns always, when people break up with them or stop hanging out with them and are not their friends anymore, they're like, I was so nice to them. I don't understand why they don't like me. And that's a big thing for me. I have a big need to be liked.
Yeah.
And so if my daughter is not nice to me, I take it extremely personally. And it's very, very hurtful to me. And I think I would never talk to somebody that way or treat somebody that way. I tend to not have people in my life that are shitty. I think that I'm a really good grandma. Like, I love being with Jameson. I love the hugs and the attention and the affection and it's so funny. First of all, I see myself way younger than I am. Mm-hmm. So it's crazy to me that I'm 49 years old. It's like, oh my God. Yeah, that's a hard question. It's like, who do you see? It's like when you look in the mirror. So I have a mirror problem.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I don't look in the mirror. I do now. I'm better now.
Yeah.
I mean, I spend maybe 15 minutes now putting on my makeup as opposed to 5. And Jack got me over that, but that was the why bother mirror exercise. I just started 2 months ago, signed up at ITAN, so I can go in and get regular like spa facials and get my nails done and I started getting waxing. I've never had waxing.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, it's just the first time for my 49th birthday, I got a bikini wax. I've never had one before.
Wow. You see, now that's since I started all this work a year or so ago, I've stopped taking care of myself.
I'm just now taking care of myself.
Yeah. So the mirror work, I can look like if I get right up so I see my eyes, I can stare right in my eyes. I just can't see what happened to my face for the past year. So I don't think that's more of a vanity issue than like, because I can stare deep and like, do mirror exercises. Although I find they're more impactful for me sometimes. I write them occasionally. One day I did Lisa Nichols has one that does you forgive yourself for, you are proud of yourself for, and then you commit to yourself. And so I did I forgive you for, there were like 37 things I had to forgive myself for. Only 2 of them were things I did to other people.
Mm-hmm.
It was all the crap, I forgive you for like being so hard on yourself, and I forgive you for this. I'm like, at the end, I'm like going, yo, shit, that's a big list, for not things I did to anyone else. You were mentioning with the boxing, did you ever talk to your mom about that? Or like, you just kind of went, it is what it is? Or do you think you're holding on to anything from, and I'll tell you why I asked that. Because in the interviews I did a long time ago, the first ones, I found that, and we talked about this, I think that if a mom doesn't have a daughter's back, it really impacts her more than even like women I talked to who were sexually abused by the mother's boyfriend, a father, like a close man in the family. They could forgive the man. But if the mother did not have the daughter's back, if the mother believed the guy over believing the daughter, the young daughter said they were, that can destroy a woman. So I always thought it was the men. It's not. It's the mom getting the daughter's back.
I think that in the conversations that I've had with my mom being so young and having the 3 kids, I don't remember her being in the room or watching us boxing. It's very possible that those things happened when she wasn't at home, but she was almost always at home. So she was our protector. For the most part, when she was home, bad stuff did not happen.
Yeah.
But she would come home from her mom's and us kids would be in the corner, and we'd been there for hours. Since basically she left, he made us all stand in the corner, and then he would go to work or go to out to lunch with his buddies, and we would all be in the corner. We'd be scared. He was 6'4", 260 pounds. We were not going anywhere. Yeah. We would be standing in the corner. She would come home and lose her shit. She'd be yelling at him. How long you get these kids standing in the corner? Never heard them fight, but she always, I feel like only one time I remember her getting us in trouble, and I was so mad. She was mad at us. Somebody mouthed off or did something, and you yelled at us as she walked into the living room. Mm-hmm. So he was like, what's going on in there? So she told him, and we all got in trouble. One time, I remember that we got in trouble because she told on us.
Yeah.
But for the most part, she was our savior. She was our protector. Bad stuff didn't happen as much when she was around. Yeah. So I don't feel that way. As I got into my teen years, she was very competitive with me. So now remember, my mom's only 15 years older than me.
Yeah. So she's in her 30s. Yeah. Yeah.
She's in her 30s. And it's like, I saved up money and bought a pair of stonewashed jeans, and my mom bought 3 pairs and the matching jacket. I got my hair done. My mom did her hair done the same way. And my mom wanted to hang out with me and my friends. And we moved to California, and it was just when I was 16 and my mom was 31. We moved to California, just my mom and me. So there was some stuff. We had some issues. My mom and I didn't talk for 10 years.
Wow.
Finally, my brother has some mental health issues. Mm-hmm. But for the last 4 years, he's been living at my mom's farm, and he lost custody of his son because there was people following him and driving by the house, and he got super paranoid, and his wife filed for custody. But a lot of the stuff he was saying was true. So half of what he thought was happening really was, and the rest he was making up in his mind. So my mom is wealthy. and my brother reached out and she helped him. And so I can't help him. I can't financially support him. And so we ended up talking only about my brother.
Mm-hmm.
And then after about a year, we started talking more often. And then about 2 years ago, once my brother moved out there, her and I drove out there to see my brother and have a conversation with her about why we weren't talking anymore. And she throws herself down on the bed and she overreacts. And she's the person that gets in the car and just drives off, and she won't talk or she won't acknowledge anything. Or it's like, do you not see how hurtful that was, that you tried to say I was a bad mom and you tried to get custody of my daughter to my ex? Like, any of these things ring a bell, that you thought you'd try to just come and get my daughter and move her to Washington without consulting me? You figured you guys had enough money that I wouldn't be able to bring her back? Like, all of these things. She did horrible things. And my mom just cried and cried, and she doesn't have any memory of those kind of things. And so finally I said, you know what, how about this? You're obviously not going to give me the apology that I'm expecting, because you don't think you did anything wrong. And so I want to have my mom in my life, and I would appreciate it if we could just agree to disagree and we could start over from a different thing. And so I held my hand out and I shook her hand. I said, hi, I'm Trina.
Oh, that was awesome. That was quite big of you.
Since then, ever since then we are, I mean, at this point, my daughter's 26 and I have a grandson. So chances of my daughter running off and not speaking to me and me, or my mom having that kind of power and influence in my life is gone. And now she's become one of my biggest supporters, and she's helped me out quite a bit with this thing. She reads a lot of Jack behind my back, so she puts it on me. She's like, because she'll say something which is straight out of the Success Principles, and I know where she comes from. So she's trying, because it's still her competitive thing with me. Yeah. So her and her husband are both going to BTS, but not because my mom needs it, because Fred needs it, her husband. Yeah. He has some stuff from a childhood that he needs to go. But I think she was molested when she was a child by her dad. Yeah. And she doesn't want to admit it or talk about it. And it's a block for her. Mm-hmm. And I think but I've been able to, I forgive her. She did the best that she could with the limited skills and knowledge that she had at the time.
Yeah. Well, you know what? And that's, I realized that I don't think I was ever angry. I was more hurt by my ex and my dad. And then I realized one time, not with my ex, but him too, but really with my dad, I went, you know what, man, they never fixed their childhood. Like it's just a child raising another child. Yeah. I did it with my kids, and I love my kids. I was a great mom, but I made my son a codependent. My ex traveled all the time, and my son talked at 18 months old. So by the time the poor kid was 3, we were having adult conversations left and right. Yeah. He grew up way quicker than he had to, because he was smart and he always liked to talk, so we all
But we all do the best that we can.
Right.
At the time. If you would have known that you were messing up your kid, you wouldn't have done it.
No. I wouldn't have. How would you define love?
Love. When I guess I feel that love is unconditional. I think if somebody really loves me, they make an effort, or if I remember walking inside a grocery store with a boy, and he turned around and looked at me and he goes, who are you talking to? And I'm like, what? And he goes, do you hear what you're saying? I don't know why you're talking to me like that. I would never talk to you like that. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't even realize that I must have snapped at him about something. Oh. He wasn't being vicious. He wasn't.
Yeah.
So here I think that I'm like the perfect girlfriend, and I'm always nice, and but sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I'm snotty. So I guess I would want, if somebody loved me, I would want them to say something if I was doing something that was, I guess I want somebody to call me on my shit too. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I don't mean to be, I don't want to come across as being shitty.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't. We know it's funny.
Sometimes I am though. Sometimes I'm just in a bad mood. It's okay.
Vulnerability, strength or weakness?
I think it's a strength. If being vulnerable really, it helps people relate to you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that a lot of times in my life, I haven't been very vulnerable. I don't want people to know how much I need them or how much they've hurt me. I'm also the oldest child, so I'm the strong one. So I don't show the emotions. I'm the protector,
Right.
always been the protector. And it's really hard for me to be vulnerable. It's easy for me to be authentic. But vulnerability lies in there somewhere too. So I can be authentic and tell you that this is a story and this is what happened and all of these things. But when it comes down to feelings, when I have to say how I feel about something, that's hard for me. So vulnerability, it's hard to say. I'm like, wow, here I'm sitting here saying I'm authentic, but then I show my feelings. That's not very authentic.
Well, no, I mean, authentic, I guess authentic, I think, is like you're who you are, and you are who you are, and you're not worried about what other people think of that. That's what I think authentic. I mean, when I think of the term authentic, to me, vulnerability means you're putting yourself out there and you're risking the people will judge you.
Like at BTS, like I'll stand up and tell everybody what I'm going. I'll stand up and say I'm a weight loss consultant and I'm 30 pounds overweight. I'll stand up and say in front of the whole group and be the example, of whatever it is. It's like, well, this is my story and this is what happened. And it's okay for me, for people to know my story. I think that I'm an open book. I will share everything with you.
Yeah.
But to say out loud or admit that I need a hug or to cry, to show my tears, that's another thing that was, if we cried when we were children, we got hit more.
Now, I've never had a problem saying, I need this. I'm feeling this way. I need this. My problem is I never got it. Rarely. With my son, I did. He's a hugger. He's a kisser. But, and same thing I'll say to Jake is, I contact like all these people and I don't mind no. What I mind is like just not acknowledgement. That's my trigger. You know what I mean? And it's like, I'd rather people tell me no 100 times a day than just continually ignore you. And that was a trigger in a relationship too. It's like,
I don't like that being ignored. I don't like,
I don't understand the no honesty. Like, but sometimes I think like a child, like it's just so like, why do people have such a hard time saying, you know what? I'm really in a bad mood. I don't want to talk right now. That's fine by me. I totally get that. Or like my son had a performance and it was the first time he had had a performance for a while. And so he was going down, he said to watch a friend of his who was in band. I said to him, are you singing? He goes, no. I said, maybe I'll go with you. He goes, no, you don't want to go. And I see 2 days later, he's on stage on Instagram. And I'm like, you flat out told me. He goes, I know. He said, but like, I didn't tell anyone because I need to do this alone in case I fell flat on my face. And I said, and you didn't think I'd understand that? Like, I get that, but to lie, I don't like lying and I don't like deceit. That's trigger too. Cause with an alcoholic, it was I was lied to for like years,
That's a cool thing about Jake having us, I think, reach out because like every single person I've talked to has been, has a story and it's relatable and it's like we're all connected. It's like it's the things like we feel like alone. Like I went to BTS in Philadelphia and everybody's on the East Coast. And so I'm like different time zone and everyone's really far away from me. And so I feel like I'm like alone out here. Then I realized I am not alone because we have Facebook, we have Skype, we have these conversations that we can have, even though you're not sitting in the room with me. I'm having just as much fun sitting here right now. We could do this with a glass of wine tomorrow night.
I know.
This is like something that we can do. So your loneliness is imposed.
Yes, It is. It is. Well, that's what I'm saying. During this process, the people I've met is amazing. Like I have these conversations with someone I know from London and someone from, she lives in Pakistan, and then somebody else from Bahrain. I mean, it's amazing. Like I've never had friends poor, you know?
Yeah.
I need to get over. Yeah. I just need to believe in myself and not be afraid of how successful I could be.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. I mean, they talk about it over and over and over. It's limiting beliefs. You have limiting beliefs. I have fears that I'm not good enough. I have fears that, like all of them. And if you go to any BTS, any event, they're talking about, even in the Aladdin Factor I'm listening to right now. But he's talking about, why people don't ask.
Yeah.
And it's like, because they have limiting beliefs, and they have a fear that if they ask, that somebody's going to tell them no, or that they're not good enough. And then we create stories in our heads. And then they start talking about all the people that, if you think of all the people, if I asked you for something, you would probably be so stoked that I asked you for something and that you could help me do something. It would make you feel good if I asked you to do something.
Yeah.
But I won't ask you. Right.
Why?
Because I want to feel like I don't need you. Right. I can do this on my own. I'm fine. Because when I do ask, my sister and the people that could help me didn't help me.
Yeah.
And that's just like been over and over. My husband, I asked him to not do something, and whatever. It's we get trained as a child, and it grows up, and then we surround ourselves with assholes who, don't do what we ask, or our kids that don't do what we ask. Do you mind doing the dishes? And we come home and the dishes aren't done.
Yeah.
Of course they don't do them. But we don't set rules. We don't set boundaries. We don't, these are the rules, and you follow these rules or you don't live with us.
Yeah.
So we set ourselves up for this, but we basically teach ourselves not to ask.
As I said, I don't, even though people wouldn't acknowledge, or I wouldn't get like any type of response, I still ask. Now, whether that's like, I did think that is that self-sabotage? I keep going back to these people. Or is it?
Well, you're going back to the same people, but that's not sabotage.
Yeah.
If I ask you, you can ask. That's in the 9 no's. Remember when we did the 9 no's? You could ask the same person 9 times.
Yeah. But I did realize though, and I think I said on the one call, is I don't think I ask clearly enough. I don't think people really know what I want. And that's probably because I really don't know what I want.
Something in the Aladdin Factor that Mark Victor Hansen said was, he's like, you need to chunk it down. Use less words. Use less words to say what you want. So you can say what you want in the smallest way possible, and then they can ask more questions. So when Jake and I were say, what do you do? So in my elevator speech and in the video, well, I mean, I was like, I don't know why it kind of threw me. I was like, do I say like I work for Jenny Craig? No, I should talk about my business or whatever. But then when it was just him and I having a conversation, I was like, oh, I'm a professional accountability partner. That's it. And then shut up.
See, now, I do okay with like bigger people, and it's men. It's men. It's my father and my husband. That when Jake asked me or Xander asked me, I could have just been having a conversation and told them exactly. But when they said to me like flat out, so what is it? I hear that like, oh shit, I'm going to fail this. And I get like a deer in the headlights. I did it with Jake the other day. He goes, there's no wrong or right answer. And I'm like, no, but you just did. But I'm just realizing it's men. I don't do that with women.
So maybe you need to get to practice with men.
Yeah. I just realized that.
Just walk up, write it down on a piece of paper. Write down, please ask me what I do. And walk up to a man and hand it to him. Well,
I told you on that one conference I said I was going to ask, people start asking. And like the first 3 people, they're like, 2 out of them are like, yeah, I might hire you for a speaker for that. And I'm like, do you have a business card? I'm like, no. I'm like, shit.
No. All right. This was awesome. Thanks. Have a wonderful night.
You too.
Bye-bye.